Merchants Bank. First Merchants Bank, helping you prosper.
Put it in the upper right-hand corner just like a postage stamp. That's a good bingo.
Get ready to learn more about the Columbus Blue Jackets players and coaches, as well as find out what's going on this week in the NHL. Now let's join Bob McElligott and Jody Shelley for the Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank.
The Blue Jackets are finally home from the West Coast, and you know what they say in The Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home. And the Blue Jackets hope that that's the case because they come limping back from a 4-game trip where they won 0 games. As a matter of fact, the Blue Jackets have now dropped 6 in a row. Welcome to the Inside Edge presented by First Merchants Bank. I'm Bob McElligott. Jody Shelley is not with me tonight. He is actually in Pittsburgh where he is broadcasting the Red Wings-Penguins game for TNT. So the Blue Jackets go out to the West Coast last week. They had just come off losses to the Winnipeg Jets and to the Washington Capitals. They head out to San Jose to start their trip, taking on a team that's in a full rebuild, and the Blue Jackets play very hard in that game. They play extremely hard. They get a lot of offense. They get 50 shots on goal. I should say they got a lot of offensive chances. They got 50 shots on goal, but they wind up losing the game in overtime 2-1. The only goal that they got came in the third period off the stick of Kirill Marchenko. So now it's 3 losses in a row, even though one of those is an overtime loss, and you do get a point for that. Then the Blue Jackets have 2 days off, full days off, no practice. Great opportunity for team bonding, and that's exactly what they did. They took advantage of that opportunity. Then they go into L.A. They've got a 1-0 lead over the Kings after the first period. Second period starts. The Kings get 2 quick goals. They pick up a shorthanded goal in the third period. Even though the Blue Jackets answer that, they wind up losing that game by the score of 5-2. So now on Sunday you go into Anaheim, and you're hoping that you can pick up a win there against another team that has been struggling. They had lost 3 in a row going into the game, but the Blue Jackets, again, create a lot of opportunities and don't get a lot of goals. They lose that game to the Anaheim Ducks by the score of 4-2. And now you're reeling because now you know there's 1 game left on the trip, and you desperately, desperately need the 2 points. Justin Danforth told me before the Anaheim game, this is the most important game of the year to this point for us because we've got to snap out of this funk. And they didn't do it on Sunday in Anaheim. But what they did do on Sunday is they made a waiver claim. Dante Fabro, a former first-round pick of the Nashville Predators, was placed on waivers, and the Blue Jackets snatched him up. Fabro went right to Seattle, and even though the Blue Jackets didn't have practice on Monday, he was ready to play in the game last night against the Seattle Kraken. And for Dean Evison, the fact that he had another right-handed shot defenseman to put in his lineup was a big plus.
Yeah, that was a big part of it, right? Lefty-righty's crucial the way teams play now. How they forecheck, how pressure-filled everybody wants to be in order to go tape to tape and keep the puck on your forehand is a big asset. Obviously, these guys are NHL players and they can play on their offside, but to have that ability to be left-right, at least for 2 pairs here tonight, is exciting for us.
Now, there are many things that were exciting for Dante Fabro coming to join the Blue Jackets. Obviously, things weren't working out in Nashville. He was in the lineup. He was out of the lineup. He had played in only 6 games. The Nashville Predators, a couple of weeks ago, there were rumors that they were looking to maybe trade Fabro. Obviously, they couldn't find a trade partner. They had other guys that they wanted to play, so they put him on waivers, and now he's a member of the Blue Jackets. But he doesn't come into this organization without somebody knowing him, and that somebody is Blue Jackets assistant coach Scott Ford, who was Dante's coach in Milwaukee of the American Hockey League. And he also worked with Dante Fabro during training camps and development camps, and even during COVID when the Nashville staff had to miss a game and the Milwaukee Admirals staff came up and ran maybe more than 1 game, actually. But anyway, Scott Ford knows Dante Fabro, and for Dante, he feels that it's really nice that there's somebody that knows his game, knows him as a person, that's on the coaching staff that can be kind of an advocate for him just as he arrives in Columbus.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, obviously I love Fordo from my time in Nashville and what he's done for a lot of guys there. And again, I think everything's earned in this league, and so I just want to focus on putting my best foot forward and trying to help this team in any way I can.
Well, that relationship may have come into play in a big way because Dante Fabro started alongside of Zach Werenski on the top pair last night for the Blue Jackets, and I thought he was good, especially in the first period. Everybody was good in the first period, but Fabro was creating. He was getting pucks to the net. He was tracking pucks down all over the place. He and Zach really looked like they worked well in unison. And if you think about it, Dante Fabro, in the best years that he had in Nashville, he was playing on a pairing with Roman Josi. And I know that Zach Werenski is tight with Roman Josi, and they have similarities to their game, so it's no surprise that that pairing worked out well for the Blue Jackets last night. Unfortunately, it was one of not very many things that worked out well for the Blue Jackets. I take that back. As I said, the first 20 minutes of the game last night in Seattle were perhaps the Blue Jackets' best 20 minutes of the year in a period. I'm serious. They put 18 shots on goal. They had 2 goals. They were all over the Seattle Kraken, who looked like they were skating in mud. There was nothing that they could do right, and the Blue Jackets were in total control of the game. Sean Corrali scored the first goal after a shot from Zach Aston Reese got knocked down and was trickling toward the goal. Corrali finished it off. Later, on the very same shift, just seconds later, it was Corrali that went into the corner, fired a puck to the front of the net, and Zach Aston Reese tipped it in. Kevin LeBanc had the assist on both of those goals, and the Blue Jackets were rolling. They had their fourth line setting the tone. They were rolling. Then the second period came, and the script flipped. The Seattle Kraken couldn't be beat in the second period. As a matter of fact, not only did they score 2 goals to tie the game, they scored 2 more and took a 4-2 lead. They eventually added an empty netter in the third period and went on to beat the Blue Jackets by the score of 5-2. Extremely frustrating loss for the Blue Jackets last evening. I talked to Zach Aston Reese after the first period during the radio broadcast last night, and he said to me, we just have to play boring hockey the rest of the way. Don't try to do anything fancy. Zach then admitted after the game that he and his teammates did exactly that. They got away from the boring. They tried to be fancy. They made too many mistakes, and it cost them the game.
It seems like for the last string of games, we're just taking one period off. Going all the way back to the Washington game and even Nashville game. It's just like these one-period lapses where we just give up like 5-6 odd-man rushes, a couple grade A's, and we just shoot ourselves in the foot, make it really hard for us to win. It's just something that we have to learn as a team. There's a lot of young guys in this room, and it is a bit of a learning process. So sometimes we just got to get the cuteness out of our game. I think a lot of times, instead of just playing behind, we're trying to make lateral east-west plays. They're getting picked off going the other way, or it's a tough read on a pinch, or we're giving up an odd man. So just picking and choosing our spots and taking a little more pride in defending.
You heard what he said. Picking our spots, taking pride in defending. Those are things that are controllable. You control those things yourself. How well are you going to defend? How often are you going to pick your spot? How often are you going to force a play that results in a mistake and the puck going back the other way? Those are things that you can take care of as an individual, and Sean Corrali knows that. He knows that for the team to get better, individually, everybody has to look at themselves and make some adjustments.
Well, I think, there's front line being positive and being, looking ourselves in the mirror and kind of looking at, where these mistakes are happening and what these mistakes are and if we're repeating them. So like we said, we've played some good hockey on this trip, but the name of the game obviously is to come away with some points, and not as many as we wanted to on this trip. So there's definitely things we're gonna need to clean up.
There is indeed things that they need to clean up, and they will start working on that tomorrow, just a day before the Pittsburgh Penguins make their one and only trip to Nationwide Arena this year. The Penguins, they are a different-looking team. As a matter of fact, they're a team that has a lot of question marks, They have aging stars. They have guys that are just not playing well together. They're not in sync right now. Even if they get into sync, are they good enough to be what they used to be? That's a question I'm going to ask, and many more questions I'm going to ask of Mark Madden of 105.9 The X in Pittsburgh, the flagship station for the Penguins radio network. There's nobody that tells it like it is on the Pittsburgh Penguins more than Mark Madden, and he joins me as the Inside Edge presented by First Merchants Bank continues here on 97.1 The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck. Now through December 2nd, get 1.99 APR financing or $2,000 customer cash on a new 24 Tundra. Excludes TRD Pro. Or lease a 24 Tacoma SR5 double cab for $279 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Nobody builds trucks better than Toyota. Let's go places.
Hear those leaves crunching under your feet? Feel that cool nighttime air? It's definitely fall in Ohio. Fall is the perfect time to have the Waterworks inspect and tune up your furnace before the cold winter months hit. To inspect and protect your family against those wintertime furnace breakdowns, call 614-232-2222. Or visit thewaterworks.com today to schedule your fall furnace inspection and tune-up. Winter is just days away.
So are you that person? The one who's been buying over-the-counter insoles just to make whatever shoes you wear cushy? Yep, that was me. Hey, it's Anthony. And before I went to the Good Feet store, my back would kill me if I was on my feet for any serious amount of time. I was told about the Good Feet store's 3-step arch support system. Once I tried them in my shoes, I instantly felt more supported, and honestly, my feet felt aligned perfectly for the first time in forever. And they're fit to me personally. And it's not just comfort. My Good Feet store arch supports are designed to balance and strengthen my feet. They've made such a difference in my life. The Good Feet store has helped many people relieve their pain, obviously me included. No waiting required. Good Feet arch supports are immediately available. Bring in your favorite shoes to the Good Feet store, and they'll personally fit you to ensure your comfort. Go ahead. Take a free test walk today. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA. They're on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
There's nothing like having Common Man and T-Bone resting on your bosom.
Oh, for someone with no breasts, you've done very well for yourself.
Gross. Pick up the latest T-shirt in the fan store or pick up merch from a show you actually like. We even have Ohio State and jacket stuff. Head to 971thefan.com.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, what's all this I hear about seasons free things?
Yeah, we're giving away even more than usual this season.
Free alignment with any Ford tire purchase isn't seasonal, Mike. It's free every day at Tire Discounters.
Sure, but right now, guess what else happens every day?
I know that customers can save up to $250 on Michelin tires.
Absolutely. Now, guess what else?
Mike, I'm a Phantom tire buyer with a secret identity. Please don't toy with me.
Okay, here's the deal.
Yes?
We're doing these drawings.
Like a game show.
And one lucky customer per day wins all their money back for 4 tires.
Spectacular! But why call it seasons free things?
You know, season's greetings. It's like a play on words.
Yes, of course it is. I knew that.
It's seasons free things at Tire Discounters. One lucky customer per day wins their money back on tires. Everyone saves big on major brands like Continental. And a free alignment and oil change comes with every 4 tire purchase.
Let's talk interest rates. Not that kind of interest. I mean interest in you. At First Merchants Bank, we are 100% interested in your success. Our bankers provide a level of attentiveness unlike any other. We're here to get to know you and to be a helpful partner in your financial success. Aren't you tired of your bank just saying they care about your business? Make the switch to First Merchants Bank and feel the difference of real, honest interest in you. First Merchants Bank. For a better banking experience, visit firstmerchants.com/switch, helping you prosper.
Bread Financial is proud to be the official financial services partner of your Columbus Blue Jackets. They provide simple, personalized payment, lending, and saving solutions. From the Bread Cashback American Express credit card to high-yield savings and CDs to buy now, make that score now, pay later options, you'll find financial solutions for your budget and your goals, hockey or otherwise. Learn more at breadfinancial.com. And let's go Blue Jackets.
You hear that crunch? It's not just any
crunch. It's cheesy to the edge crust that only comes from a Jets Detroit-style pizza. Hand-pressed dough topped with premium mozzarella, the freshest ingredients, and ladled with Mama Jet's secret sauce. Then baked to perfection in steel pans born on Motor City lines. I bet you're real hungry now. Go ahead. Visit jetspizza.com for daily hot deals. Jets. Better because it has to be.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Plenty of clouds around, but dry on this Wednesday. Temperatures in the upper 50s. Overnight, we'll keep it mild but windy and wet. Rain arrives overnight into Thursday morning. 10 TV weather impact day for your Thursday morning with wind and rain. We'll see scattered showers through Thursday afternoon and highs only in the low 50s. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
All Blue Jackets, all the time. This is the Inside Edge with Jody Shelley and Bob McElligott. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Lace up your shoes and get ready to run on Sunday, February 9th. Registration for the 10th annual Fifth Line 5K presented by Ohio Health is now open. Receive a race shirt, medal, and finish on the ice. Plus, enjoy a post-game race party. Register today at BlueJackets.com/run. This is the Inside Edge presented by First Merchants Bank. I'm Bob McElligott. Jody Shelley is in Pittsburgh tonight, broadcasting the Penguins-Red Wings game on TNT. Yesterday, I had a chance to catch up with a guy from Pittsburgh who follows the Penguins quite closely. Mark Madden, who has a daily show on the Penguins' flagship radio station, 105.9 The X. Well, Mark, as the Blue Jackets get set to host the Penguins for the first time this year, actually host them for the only time this year, as it turns out, they go head-to-head. I've seen this so many times, but this Penguins team looks different than most of the ones from the past. And I've got to ask you this question. Has Father Time finally caught up with the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Well, it's caught up for several years now. They missed the playoffs for 2 straight years, albeit narrowly, in each of the past 2 campaigns. But the 3 core guys are still pretty good. Crosby's still really good. I think he's the top 5 player in the league still, and definitely top 10. But it's a matter of what's been assembled around them, because a lot of future capital was traded away in an attempt to, add on to the Stanley Cups they won in 16 and 17, and now the bills come due. They've recently played Crosby and Malkin on the same line, which has worked. But that doesn't give them a bottom 6 spot. It gives them a bottom 9. They have so little depth and talent up front. Erik Karlsson has been an absolute liability since coming to Pittsburgh, and the goaltending's not been very good either. That game on Monday night at home against Dallas, where they trailed 6-0 after 1 period, I'm not saying that's a microcosm of the season, because it's not always gone that bad, nor will it, but it was pretty telling.
Pretty telling, and it happened at home, which that team had never given up 6 goals in a period at home, right? Or not in the first period at home. So you come off a big win against Washington, and then you come home and just kind of lay an egg like that. That's got to be really frustrating for that kind of a team.
Yeah, it was frustrating for the crowd, too. And there have been 2 familiar themes to this season, Bob. One is the Penguins have blown a 2-goal lead numerous times, just over and over and over again. And the other one is the first shot against going in, which happened again against Dallas. Lundqvist started, got pulled. Nedeljkovic came in, honestly didn't do much better, especially in the first period. Tristan Jarry's back from his conditioning assignment in Wilkes. I expect he's going to go in most of the games moving forward, although the schedule's so tightly packed. And right now they're keeping 3 goaltenders, and that's an unwieldy situation. I expect Blomqvist, even though he's played better than the others, will probably go to Wilkes, because that's what's best for his development. At this point, the Penguins have to think more about development than about the right now, because no matter what they do in the right now, I don't expect it will be good enough.
How has Tristan Jarry fallen out of favor so quickly? I mean, this is a guy, and I know it's been an up and down for him in Pittsburgh, where he's been, he looks like a world beater, and then he looks like he can't stop a puck. But how does he wind up back in the American Hockey League on a conditioning assignment?
Well, Jarry has all the tools, but no toolbox, Bob. I got to tell you, I don't think the guy's that bright. And last year, when he lost the job down the stretch to Nedeljkovic, with Ned starting the last 13 games, the word out of the locker room was that Jarry wasn't rattled by that. It was as if he got his big contract, almost $6 million a year, long term, and he figures, okay, game over. He wasn't rattled by losing the job. Now, this year, when things went worse right off the bat, the opening night game at home against New York was a debacle. That was the debut of first shot, first goal, which, like I said, has become a trend. And he's just played horribly all season long. He's 29 years old. This is his 7th full year in the league. If he hasn't found it by now on a consistent basis, I wonder if he ever will. I was on record as saying back when they lost that playoff series to the Islanders in 2021, where he made an egregious puck handling mistake in double overtime to cough up a goal that turned the series, I would have got rid of him right then and there. I think at that point he fractured the trust between goaltender and team, goaltender and coach, even goaltender and fan base. But they persevered with them. It's fear of not having a number one goalie, because really, Bob, there aren't many to go around in this league, but keeping him has not worked out, and now you can't get rid of him. So in that vein, I just play him. I would make him or break him this year. I would play him 60 minutes every time he started. I would tell him, look, if you let in 9, try not to let in a 10th. He's the kind of goalie, Bob, now, not always, but now, who looks to the bench when things go bad like he wants pulled. I wouldn't let him use that as a crutch.
Talk about not many starting goaltenders, number one goaltenders around in the National Hockey League. And that's what I was going to ask you about. Is that a guy that they could possibly move somewhere down the line? I mean, the Blue Jackets are in a situation coming into this year with Elvis Merzlikins not knowing what they're going to get, and he's struggled the last couple of years. But you look at contracts, and all of a sudden it becomes I don't know if the word is impossible, but it becomes very difficult to try to make a change at that position. And even for the teams that might be looking to make a change, those teams are mostly up against the cap.
Goaltending more and more is striking me as the position you want a money ball in the NHL. Unless you have a very top guy, just have a rotating cast of guys who come and go on one-year deals. If you can't get a franchise-type goalie like a Hellebuck, just play it that way. I don't think they can move Jarry, especially not after the way he started this season. I think there was a time when you might have got Vancouver interested because the connection there with Rutherford and Tocchet being president of hockey ops and head coach. Patrick Allvin, too, the GM, he was here in Pittsburgh. And I thought there was a time you could have maybe pawned him off on Edmonton because he had, good years in junior A at Edmonton, and there's the certain familiarity and confidence there. But I think that's long since passed, and I think the Penguins are just stuck with him, so I would just play him.
Yeah, which is what the Blue Jackets are doing with Elvis Merzlikins, and actually has turned out to be good to start the year, so it's worked out here. Talking with Mark Madden. He's a host on 105.9 The X and covers the Penguins extensively. This is where you get the true Penguins breakdown when you talk to Mark Madden. You mentioned earlier Erik Karlsson. I never understood why Pittsburgh went and got him from San Jose and brought him in there. Was it the name? Did they just think that he was going to mesh with the group that was there? Because, as you stated, it really hasn't worked.
Well, first off, when you talk about the Penguins breakdown, I am on the verge of having a breakdown after that Dallas game. In terms of Karlsson, I think it was an effort well made because they pawned off a lot of guys who were bums and dead cap. They basically took a bunch of small cap problems and traded for one big cap problem, but longer term, in an attempt to give Crosby, Malkin, Letang an additional component to make one last run, but it ain't worked out. He's the kind of guy, and really he always was, Bob. If he doesn't produce, he hurts you. He's always going to make defensive errors, always going to make turnovers, but if he gets 2 or 3 points a lot of nights, that mitigates. But his production has plummeted, and his attitude, I don't know how to describe it. He's not a Penguin. He doesn't wear it on his sleeve. We got a lot of guys like that now, to be honest. Like Karlsson, after some terrible games, has told my colleague Josh Owen, the Athletic, he thinks he's playing pretty good. Even after games where he might as well have turned around and stuffed a hand grenade in the goaltender's pants. He doesn't get it, and maybe he never did. When a guy like that puts up good numbers and wins awards, but never wins, and never even gets to a Stanley Cup final, that's not coincidence. And I had to see that up close to believe that about him, but now I have, and I do believe it.
Sidney Crosby, this summer, the contract negotiation or the deal seemed like it took a little bit longer than a lot of people thought that it was going to the point where I know the fan base there started to get worried about whether or not Sid was going to re-sign, which he ends up doing for a couple of years, kept the same money at $8.7 million, didn't get a raise. I mean, this guy, is there more of a ultimate team player that you have met in sports than Sidney Crosby?
No, never. I've joked with him. If he would have, he gets 8.7 because he was born on August 7th. I always say he should have been born in November. You'd have a lot more money. I got to be honest too, Bob. I thought he made a mistake not going for more money because the money he left on the table to help resurrect his team, this team's beyond resurrection. So I understand his why he did it, but it just was a mistake on his part. And it's always been said by him he's going to finish his career here. But now that he's experiencing what is going on right now and how bad they really are, how they look like a lottery team, I wonder. And it's one thing to anticipate it. It's another thing to live it. And his contract is really front-loaded. So if you traded him before the last year of it, the other team wouldn't pick up much of a cap hit, which makes the return for him that much. Excuse me, they wouldn't pick up the cap hit because of the cap rules, but they wouldn't actually have to pay out much cash, which makes the return for him potentially even bigger. And it would be big no matter what. So I think he'll stay here, but I'm at the first time where I don't know for sure. I used to say 100%. Now I say 95. And Bob, if he did leave, I wouldn't blame him. If he wanted to go someplace else to try to win with maybe a buddy like Nate McKinnon in Colorado, I would get it. But I doubt it'll happen because Sid hates change, just hates change. He's wearing the same jockstrap he wore in juniors, for crying out loud. It would be traumatic almost for him to go to another team. So I don't think he will. He still has these 2 tournaments coming up with Canada as an outlet to try to win. I think that's very important, very healthy for him to have that. So I think he'll stay, but for the first time, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, and you know what? I have a lot of respect for guys that stay with a franchise for their entire career because, well, it used to happen far more often than it happens today, right? But, man, even during the summertime with that contract, so many people, and a lot of Canadian media people, almost just licking their chops that they can't wait to see Sidney Crosby wear another jersey somewhere along the way. And, like you said, I give him all the respect of the world for wanting to stay there. But, yeah, you can understand wanting to and it being the right thing to do at the end. It'll be very interesting to watch here, won't it?
Yeah, well, it's funny because when the contract negotiations were dragging out, I was joking on my show. Their first 3 road games were at Detroit, at Montreal, at Toronto. Could you imagine the media frenzy in each of those places if he hadn't yet been signed? Hey, Sid, don't you want to play for your old hero, Steve Yzerman in Detroit? Hey, Sid, don't you want to play for the team you rooted for as a kid in Montreal? Hey, Sid, don't you want to bring a cup to Canada with the Maple Leafs? It would have been just incredible. It's awful for him, but funny for me. So, but I'm glad he signed. I will say, Bob, that I'm with you. I'll give an example. I've been on shows like Spittin' Chicklets and said this, and I get castigated for it. I think the Stanley Cup Ray Bourque won with Colorado meant nothing. I think he was a tag-along. I think he compromised what he did in Boston by leaving. He didn't really earn it. And Sid's already won 3 cups, so why does he need a 4th? I mean, yeah, it would be fun. It never hurts, but I'm a big fan of one guy, one team, and Sid's 2 idols, Steve Yzerman and Mario Lemieux, lived that. So, yeah, I think Sid's going to stay.
Yeah, and he lived with Mario Lemieux when he first became a Penguin, too. So there's a great respect and relationship there. Does Mario still come around to the games in Pittsburgh much?
No. The sale to FSG had a few tweaks in it, is a good way to say it at the end, that cost Mario some money he did not anticipate. So the relationship there, while not toxic, isn't good. He was only at, he was at one game for sure when he was there with his fantasy camp guys. But he did not let them put him on the Jumbotron. And I when I saw him at the fantasy camp, he said that he had been to a couple other games too. But if I don't know that, I mean, I didn't see him, but he also said something that kind of stuck with me. He said, I've been going to hockey rinks constantly since I was like 4 years old. I need a break from it. And I understand that too.
I'm talking with Mark Madden, who covers the Pittsburgh Penguins for 105.9 The X in Pittsburgh. I'll be right back with more of the Inside Edge presented by First Merchants Bank on 97.1 The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Does your vehicle need maintenance, but you don't have time? Krieger Ford's got you covered. Enjoy our convenient pickup and delivery service, or we come to you with our mobile service van. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today, only at KriegerFord.com.
If fashion is your thing, eBay is it. eBay's where I find all my favorites, from handbags to iconic streetwear, all authenticated. For real. This time, a little Supreme, some Gucci. I even have that vintage Prada on my watch list. That's why eBay's my go-to for all my go-tos. Yeah, eBay, the place for new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay, things people love.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds? Birds? What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. I love this time of the year, the food, the family, the football, and I want to spend it with my loved ones. I don't want to spend all day in the kitchen. So Bob Evans, they got a solution for you. It's the Thanksgiving celebration, their farmhouse feast. They've got unbelievable options. I love the slow roasted turkey for 6 hours, but you could go with ham as well. They've got unbelievable handcrafted sides. My kids love the homemade celery and dressing. The mashed potatoes with gravy, they're always a winner. They've got tons of them that serves 8 to 10 people, folks. So go check it out at bobevans.com.
For a limited time at Speedway, get 2 big pizza slices and your favorite Coca-Cola 20-ounce for only $5 with Speedy Rewards. Choose from Classic 3-Cheese, Pepperoni, or Extreme Meat Pizza. Save big with a $5 meal deal with Speedy Rewards. Only at Speedway. Valid through 1/7/25. See app for full terms.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV?
They're here.
Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
Okay, name? Occupation? Great. You get a brand new Kia. For less than lunch. Under $5 a day at Great Lakes Kia.
Is that a turkey?
Of course. We're talking turkey. With event pricing and the credit approve-a-thon. Wow, and new Kias are less than lunch? Yes, under $5 a day. Lease new 24 Kia Forte LXS, EV6 Wind, and Sorento LX. All 3 under $5 a day. Wow, that's only $139 a month for 24 months. Plus new 24 Kia Telluride LX under $8 a day. $249 for 24 months. He just got an EV6 with 0% financing.
Lucky goose.
Turkey.
Turkey, right. But I'd never get approved.
If you've got a job, you ride.
You guys are great.
Great cars, great people. Great Lakes Kia.
In Columbus.
GreatLakesKia.com.
GreatLakesKia.com.
You're such a ham.
To qualified buyers, visit GreatLakesKia.com for details.
Do you need a driveway, garage floor, or patio? Call my guys at Maxima Concrete. They are Central Ohio's most trusted concrete company with 250 five-star ratings on Google. Maxima does over 600 projects a year, so no project is too big or complex. There is still time to get your work in this season, or if you're planning for next year, saving your spot is free because they never take deposits. Mention this ad to get $250 off your project. Schedule an estimate today by visiting MaximaConcrete.com.
Can't get enough Blue Jackets conversation? Good news. It's Hockey O'Clock. It's the Inside Edge with Jody Shelley and Bob McGilligan. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Give the gift of Blue Jackets hockey with the holiday gift pack. It starts at $99, and each pack includes 2 tickets to 2 games of your choice and an exclusive Blue Jackets homage shirt. To learn more, go to bluejackets.com/holiday. This is the Inside Edge presented by First Merchants Bank here on 97.1 The Fan. I'm Bob McElligott talking with Mark Madden of 105.9 The X in Pittsburgh. You mentioned FSG, and that's the Fenway Sports Group that now owns Pittsburgh. You had told me when they first bought that franchise, because you're familiar with how they work, because you're a huge soccer fan, and you said
Liverpool.
That they're Liverpool. That's right. So you told me that they like to go out and get the best of the best when it comes to general managers and start from there.
Yes.
Kyle Dubas became available from Toronto. They got him. Did he just inherit a heck of a mess there from Ron Hextall, or where is Dubas at as far as trying to clean that up in Pittsburgh and get that back on track?
I have a lot of faith in Kyle. I think he's a perfect blend of the analytics type GM, but with hockey sense too. So, but the problem is right now with the 3 stars there and so many no movement clauses, he is really handcuffed for executing his entire vision. I think it's unfair to criticize him at this point. At the end of this year, if they miss the playoffs again, if I'm him, I trade Pedersen, Raquel, and Eller at the deadline, if not before, to get what you can. Because they're, Raquel has another year after this, I think, but he's on his way to 30 goals. He might be movable. And then I'll be honest, Bob, I have a hard conversation in the offseason with Malkin and Letang to see if they'd mind being moved. I would try to keep Finn, but I would leave that totally up to him. And if Sid ever wouldn't go, one thing has to happen, 100%. He has to say out loud that he wants to leave. He could, couch it however he wants, like it would be better for us, the Penguins, better for me, Sidney Crosby, moving forward. But he has to say it. Fenway Sports Group will not be seen as having ditched Sidney Crosby. Case in point. It was dumb to sign both Malkin and Letang to their last deals. One of them maybe, not both. You can't just keep the old core while it's aging out. Not all of them. But they had just got the team, and they didn't want to be seen as having got rid of those 2. And also Sid wanted those guys here too. So I understand why they did what they did, but now it's time to do something different. And I do think Kyle Dubas is the guy to execute that.
When you look at the Blue Jackets roster, and it's, it's different from past years, but there are some players that are the same, some young players that you've watched play against the Penguins for the last couple of years and develop. But when you look at what's going on in Columbus, a team that struggled the last couple of years, do you see where are they in relation to the Penguins? Like when these 2 teams get together on Friday, how similar are these teams?
Well, it depends on what era of development you're talking about. I have a lot of faith in Waddell. We talked about him before we started taping. I'm a big John Davidson guy, too. I think what Columbus needs, and this is easier said than done, but a guy like Fantilli has to step up and be what he's supposed to be. If you get that one key component, that one guy, and I don't mean Crosby good, because there's only, how many of those every generation. But you need one guy to hang your hat on, and then it's easy to assemble around him, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, of course.
And I think Fantilli has that kind of potential. I know he's been injured, but I'm not sure he's quite been what they need him to be otherwise. Has he? I mean, you tell me, Bob, you see him all the time.
No, he started this year at center, where last year they started him on the wing, and then just at the end of this West Coast road trip, they put him on the wing to try to get him going again. So I do agree with you, and you know what though, sometimes I guess it's not fair because the kid plays 1 year of college and then he comes in, you get taken third overall, and everybody expects you to come in and be a big impact guy, and he was pretty good last year before he got injured. And then had to miss the rest of the season. He hasn't even played a full season in the National Hockey League, but I do agree with you. I think that's the guy that, even though it might be unfair to expect him to be a superstar right out of the chute, when you're getting taken number 3 overall, you're expected to carry a little bit more weight, right?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the kid. I mean, I think he's going to do really well. I think a lot of years he would have gone first overall, Bob. That's how high I think of his talent. One thing about Columbus currently, I was just kind of looking at the stats here. I like the defense core. I think that's a solid group, and I have a lot of respect for Zach Werenski. I've always been just a huge fan. I think he's such a cornerstone in the back. I think a lot of people thought Columbus blew it when they let Seth Jones go and they kept Werenski, but they made the right choice between the two, and that's been borne out time and again. So I think the Jackets are okay in the back. It's just it's like Pittsburgh. Right now, yeah, there's a similarity. You only have 1 or 2 guys that can really score, that you can really count on to be a threat. And, boy, that's a tough road to hoe, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a tough road to hoe. In fact, they do look a little bit like Pittsburgh up front. Now, Zach Aston Reese was claimed off waivers. Of course, you know him very well from his time there. One thing I do like about Don Waddell, with a guy like Aston Reese and Kevin LeBanc who came in, James Van Riemsdyk he brought in. Look, there were situations where there were holes in his roster. He needed to find a way to fill those holes. And what I like about Don is that he went out and got guys that have NHL experience instead of promoting guys from the American Hockey League that aren't ready yet and are going to struggle and maybe stunt their development. Leave them in the minor leagues and let them get their minutes and bring in these guys that have played in the league. And that's twofold, right? You get to develop your prospects. Plus, at the end, and any of these guys that's had a decent season, you could probably flip to a playoff team and get some assets back.
Yeah, it's like the Penguins with Blomqvist in goal. Right now, he's their best goalie, but he's better served developing in Wilkes. Like up here, like last night against Dallas, he let in 2 bad goals to start. But against a good team, playing goal for the Penguins is like ending goal in Stalingrad. And you just won't develop in that situation if you're a young goalie. In fact, it might hurt you, although I kind of scoff at that too, Bob, because you'd like to think these guys with talent are made of sterner stuff mentally. But yeah, I think Donnie has the right idea there.
Funny you say mentally, because I agree with that. Somebody asked me the other day about, about players and young players, and I think you really need to get to know, if you can, the mentality of a player, because just what we're talking about, if you get into a situation where you're with a bad team, can you still develop? Can you handle failure? Can you get better from failure? Because if you can't, it's going to be, it might be a short career instead of a long career. So I think scouting and player development today is so much more finding out what's actually in between a guy's ears. You can see what he got on the ice, but you got to figure out what the heck is going on in his head, right?
I will say this. Let me add a disclaimer, Bob. I think that a forward or a defenseman with a bad NHL team can learn from failure. I think with goaltending, it's different.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you just get used to pucks going past you, and that ain't good. Like the Penguins' future, and boy, I never thought I'd say this, is in goal. Because I think Blomqvist has a bright future. This Russian kid we got in the system, Morozov, is really good. You got to develop those two. That is where the future lies for Pittsburgh, in goal. I never thought I'd say that. Then again, we said it with Fleury way back when, and he turned out to be the very first building block. So maybe these 2 guys will be the same. One thing, Bob, we haven't talked about, and obviously I joined the entire hockey community in Columbus in mourning what happened to Johnny Hockey. And that is just such a tough mental thing. Never mind the on-the-ice effect this year, but for the Blue Jackets to get past. And I actually think the Blue Jackets games I've seen, they have played really well, all things considering. That was just an impossible loss to absorb on every level possible.
Yeah, every level is right. And it's the personal level is where it hurt the most, obviously. I don't know. I don't know if you were around Johnny at all, but I've never seen a more unassuming superstar than Johnny Gaudreau was. Just didn't need to be in the limelight. Just wanted to live his life and be a good guy and play hockey. And so that part is, obviously been devastating to deal with. And then from the hockey aspect of it, like you said, we're breaking down rosters and talking about all this stuff. Well, that's your most talented player, and he's gone, and you're trying to fill that gap. And guys are playing hard, Mark. I'll tell you this: they're really playing hard for his memory, and but you just can't. The talent, you just can't make up for the talent.
And you get involved in certain other practicalities too, Bob. Case in point, we talked earlier about Fantilli. Fantilli to develop under Gaudreau, with pressure being taken off him because of Johnny's presence, and being able to learn by playing with and watching Johnny, you just can't replace that for Fantilli. You just can't.
Right, and another guy that even more so to me is Kent Johnson, because
that's right.
He's a similar build. And I will say this, if we're talking about just the hockey aspect of it, Kent Johnson is the one guy that has the potential to kind of, fill a little bit of that, because he has great skill sets, but as you just said, not developed yet. And that's a guy that I think playing just a little bit more with Johnny Gaudreau would have been really advantageous for him.
Yeah, no, it's just, like I said, you don't get over something like that, and especially not immediately. I mean, whatever happens to Columbus this year, it's got to be kind of a mulligan. And I know that sounds lousy to say, but just the fact what happened, the ramifications, the fallout, that's going to last at least the full season, maybe longer.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right about that. Well, Mark, it's always great to talk to you. Great to catch up. Really appreciate your time. And
Bob, I think what Columbus needs to do is get R.J. Umberger back in uniform. He's there, he lives in Columbus.
Oh, I know he's here.
He's coaching minor hockey, I think. He's a great coach, I'm told.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yes, he was doing that, and I try to get him to broadcast from time to time. And his kids are playing soccer, or playing hockey, or doing something. So he's a hard guy to track down at times, but he's still a fantastic guy.
No question. A great Pittsburgh kid. I remember when he was a little kid playing deck hockey here in Pittsburgh, and I watched him play high school hockey at Plum. Just a super player, great guy. And right now, I mean, there are guys catching up to him. Well, maybe he's been passed. I always kid him about that. But for a while, he was the reigning best player ever from Pittsburgh. But now with Trumchek, J.T. Miller, Brandon Saad with his cups, John Gibson goal, let's just say there's competition.
That's very fair. Very fair. Mark, I really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you soon, buddy.
No problem, Bob. Glad to do it. We'll see you soon.
That is Mark Madden. He hosts a daily show on the Pittsburgh Penguins flagship radio station 105.90X in Pittsburgh. Coming up, I'll wrap up this week's edition of The Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank here on 97.1 The Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
Football fans, meet your new full-service auto partner, Hinderer Motor Company. This is Justin Hinderer. From Honda to Ford to Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, we have the perfect vehicle for every football fan. Stuck on the road? Our 24/7 towing and roadside assistance is just one call away. And our convenience service means no hassle, just great service. Plus, every vehicle purchase comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. For unbeatable deals and unbelievable service, visit HindererMotorCompany.com. We love what moves you.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Hear those leaves crunching under your feet? Feel that cool nighttime air? It's definitely fall in Ohio. Fall is the perfect time to have the Waterworks inspect and tune up your furnace before the cold winter months hit. To inspect and protect your family against those wintertime furnace breakdowns, call 614-232-2222. Or visit thewaterworks.com today to schedule your fall furnace inspection and tune-up. Winter is just days away.
If you miss a little, you'll miss a lot. Search for your favorite fan shows wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Every episode comes right to your phone absolutely free. Modern technology, it's a hell of a thing. Do it now. The Fan.
Let's talk interest rates. Not that kind of interest. I mean, interest in you. At First Merchants Bank, we are 100% interested in your success. Our bankers provide a level of attentiveness unlike any other. We're here to get to know you and to be a helpful partner in your financial success. Aren't you tired of your bank just saying they care about your business? Make the switch to First Merchants Bank and feel the difference of real, honest interest in you. First Merchants Bank. For a better banking experience, visit firstmerchants.com/switch, helping you prosper.
Worthington Steel has been proud to call Columbus home for 70 years. As a value-added steel processor, we enhance the products you use every day. Whether it's cars on the road, combines harvesting food, or transformers and generators providing electricity, Worthington Steel is there, and we are driving steel forward. Learn more about our innovative steel solutions at worthingtonsteel.com. That's worthingtonsteel.com.
As the official security partner of the Columbus Blue Jackets, the local team here at Vector Security is committed to protecting homes and businesses throughout Central Ohio. We live here. Our families eat, shop, and go to school and church in our communities. So we have a vested interest in keeping the homes and businesses of our neighbors safe and secure. Visit vectorsecurity.com/CBJ for a free security assessment that will address your unique needs. That's vectorsecurity.com/CBJ.
Let's talk interest rates. Not that kind of interest. I mean, interest in you. At First Merchants Bank, we are 100% interested in your success. Our bankers provide a level of attentiveness unlike any other. We're here to get to know you and to be a helpful partner in your financial success. Aren't you tired of your bank just saying they care about your business? Make the switch to First Merchants Bank and feel the difference of real, honest interest in you. First Merchants Bank. For a better banking experience, visit firstmerchants.com/switch, helping you prosper.
All Blue Jackets, all the time. This is the Inside Edge with Jody Shelley and Bob McElligott. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Welcome back to the Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank. I'm Bob McElligott. Once again, Jody Shelley is not with me tonight. He is in Pittsburgh. He is broadcasting on TNT, the Penguins, Red Wings. He's getting a pre-scout on the Pittsburgh Penguins for the game that's coming up here on Friday night. The Penguins, after I talked with Mark Madden yesterday in the interview that you just heard, the Penguins made a trade late yesterday when they sent Lars Eller to the Washington Capitals, and in exchange, they got a couple of draft picks for him. They picked up a third-round pick in the 2027 draft and a fifth-round pick in the 2025 draft. Now, Kyle Dubas, you heard Mark and I talking about Dubas and what he's trying to do and how he's trying to restructure the organization, how he's trying to get youth. And one of the ways he's doing it is really one of the only ways that you can do it when you're in a situation like Pittsburgh is, when they traded away so many draft picks, and they got 2 Stanley Cups for them, by the way. I would have made that same deal. I would have traded the farm for those 2 Stanley Cups, and I would have worried about paying the bills later. And that's where the Penguins are right now. You heard Mark talk about that. That's exactly where they are right now, although the guy that ran up the bills, he's not there to pay him. That was Jim Rutherford. He was the guy that won Stanley Cups and traded everything away, all the future away, in order to get that done. Again, I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing. But he's not there now. Actually, he left, and Ron Hextall came in, and whether Ron Hextall did what was right or what was wrong there, you could have that argument all day long, but now it's Kyle Dubas' job to try to clean it up. So he sends Lars Eller to the Washington Capitals, a team that Eller had played for before. So he's going back to a familiar place. The Penguins are getting some draft picks, and they're going to have to start making some very tough decisions as to what they want to do and what they are going to be in the future. In the meantime, the Winnipeg Jets, they became the fastest team to reach 15 wins in NHL history. They beat the New York Rangers in their 16th game of the season at Madison Square Garden, by the way. 6-3 was the final score. The Jets are 15-1-0. They reached 15 wins faster than the Boston Bruins did back in 2022-23, faster than the Ottawa Senators in 2007 and 8, faster than the 2006-2007 Buffalo Sabres, faster than the 1985-86 Philadelphia Flyers, and faster than the 1929-30 Boston Bruins. You remember them, right? Of course you do. But they did it in 17 games, all of those teams. The Winnipeg Jets have done it in 16 games. Unbelievable what that team is doing. And sometimes you don't get to see a team when they're running on a streak like that, and you're just reading and you're watching and you're listening, and all of a sudden you see them and you decide if it's real or not. Sometimes before you ever see it with your own two eyes, you wonder if it's real. Well, wonder no more for the Blue Jackets and their fans, obviously. We just saw those Winnipeg Jets a couple of weeks ago, and we can testify that they are indeed real. So congratulations to Scott Arniel, the new head coach of the Winnipeg Jets. He's got that team rolling. Obviously, it's a long way to go before you get to the playoffs, but you can't get off to a better start than that. Nobody has, ever. So the Jets, they are indeed for real. The Florida Panthers had a 7-game winning streak intact last night when they took on the New Jersey Devils, but the Panthers ran into a hot goaltender. Jacob Markstrom made 34 saves. The Devils ended that 7-game winning streak on the road, by the way, in Florida's building, by the way. 4-1 was the final score in that game. The New Jersey Devils, there's another team. It looks like they're for real. Now, we haven't seen them yet. That's one that I'm talking about. You hear about it, you read about it, and all that stuff, but we have yet to see them up close and personal. I don't know if I want to see them anytime soon. Connor McDavid had a goal and 3 assists for the Oilers. They came back to win in overtime against the Islanders in Edmonton last night. 4-3 was the final score. McDavid got the primary assist, the 999th NHL point on Leon Draisaitl's game-winning goal in overtime. Connor McDavid, next point that he gets, he will be at 1,000 in his National Hockey League career. No surprise, right? I mean, this guy has been a can't-miss superstar for a long time, and he is really coming into his own right now, and he's going to have 1,000 points. The Toronto Maple Leafs continue to be without Austin Matthews. He missed his 4th straight game with an upper body injury. In the meantime, Linus Ullmark was very good for the Ottawa Senators. In fact, how good was he? He shut out the Leafs. 3-0 was the final score in that game last night. Here's what's coming up for the Blue Jackets. They'll take on the Penguins on Friday night at 7 o'clock here at Nationwide Arena, and then they're immediately going to turn around and go back on the road. The Blue Jackets will then head to Montreal. That's a team that had been struggling and is now starting to put it together. Go figure. And then after the game on Saturday in Montreal, the Blue Jackets will head to Boston to take on the Bruins. So that's what's coming up for the Blue Jackets over the course of the next couple of days. I'd like to thank Mark Madden for being my guest, and Jody Shelley will return with me next week. I think he will anyway, if he's not going somewhere else to do another game. No, he'll be back with me next week. Thank you for being here. As always, get ready for the game Friday between the Blue Jackets and the Penguins, 7 o'clock at Nationwide Arena. Until then, I'm Bob McElligott. So long, and thanks for listening to The Inside Edge, presented by First Merchants Bank here on 97.1 The Fan.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
If fashion is your thing, eBay is it. eBay's where I find all my favorites, from handbags to iconic streetwear, all authenticated. For real. This time, a little Supreme, some Gucci. I even have that vintage Prada on my watch list. That's why eBay's my go-to for all my go-tos. Yeah, eBay, the place for new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay, things people love.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds?
Birds?
What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure. But why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Active military or veteran planning your next career move? Columbus State's engineering technology programs prepare you for a career in Columbus's fastest growing fields. Our veteran services team will help you maximize your benefits and connect to a supportive community. Apply at cscc.edu/engineering tech.
Reichert Chevy's dealing in Dublin.
$2,500 low price guarantee.
With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Shop hundreds of vehicles at ReichertChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. We're dealing.
So are you that person? The one who's been buying over-the-counter insoles just to make whatever shoes you wear cushy? Yep, that was me. Hey, it's Anthony. And before I went to the Good Feet store, my back would kill me if I was on my feet for any serious amount of time. I was told about the Good Feet store's 3-step arch support system. Once I tried them in my shoes, I instantly felt more supported, and honestly, my feet felt aligned perfectly for the first time in forever. And they're fit to me personally. And it's not just comfort. My Good Feet store arch supports are designed to balance and strengthen my feet. They've made such a difference in my life. The Good Feet store has helped many people relieve their pain, obviously me included. No waiting required. Good Feet arch supports are immediately available. Bring in your favorite shoes to the Good Feet store, and they'll personally fit you to ensure your comfort. Go ahead. Take a free test walk today. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA. They're on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
At Roof Revivers, we save not only your roof, but your money too. Whether you need a quick repair or a full replacement, we've got you covered. While many companies jump straight to replacements, we always start with repairs. Replacements, that's our last resort. We'll provide a clear, detailed explanation of what your roof needs, complete with photos so you know exactly why. With over 350 5-star reviews on Google, honesty is at the heart of everything we do. Roof Revivers is ready to work for you. Visit roofrevivers.com today. Roof Revivers, we fix leaky roofs.